Hello and welcome to another review where we have Baldur's Gate 3. And this is my updated review as I have played the game in early access, and at the time I didn't feel the game was worth it. But right now, do I think the game is worth your while and the money that it costs? And my response for that is a big yes. It has changed quite a lot since the early access times 2 years ago when I played it, and now it's a fully fledged game that is worth every single minute that you put into it. And bear with me because there is a lot of minutes that you want to put on this game. But before we go any further, if you don't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is yet, it's basically a party-based RPG set in the universe of Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D, and that's based on the 5th edition of D&D. Basically, every single choice that you make in the game can have an impact on the future quests that you might have along the way. But before we get into any of the details what I like and dislike on the game, I just want to thank you all for all your likes and comments. I really appreciate it. But starting with what I think are the strong points of the game, obviously character customization. If you look on the internet, most people will say that they spend like hours just on that screen, and you have so many options, not just how you look, but your race, your classes, and spells and abilities, and like every single detail. If you ever play RPGs before, this is the game for you, and you won't go wrong with that. As this is a Dungeons and Dragons based RPG, all the 5th edition rules are all in there, and they are very well done. And in my opinion, at least, they've managed to capture the essence of D&D. And it's been a long time since I played the game with this amount of information, story, and had so much fun. It's been a very long time, and I'm just astonished by the amount of things that you can see, do, and how creative you can be in this game. There are basically almost no limitations on what you can do. There are also 17,000 possible endings on this game. It all depends on what you do throughout your journey, how you play it, what you say to people in the game or to your companions, and how you just progress throughout the story of the game. This is just something unimaginable for me. I'll be honest, I can't even start to think what that might look like. But you have like endless possibilities there. So you can play the game 17,000 times and have a different ending. That's it. Like, else can I say? By the way, usually the median time to finish one full playthrough is around 100 hours or over. So don't expect to sit in this game and finalize that in a weekend. You can cut shortcuts if you see the internet, like there is a world record of 10 minutes to finish the game, but obviously it's exploiting some issues and some mechanics of the game, and you won't have fun at all if you go down that path. But make sure that you have time to play it. You can also play it by yourself and use the game companions as your party, or you can play that with a group of your friends and you all play it together, and it's a lot more fun that way. If I have friends, go for it. That's totally worth it, and you can be even more creative playing with different people, and this is what I like about it. Now, there is one thing that's very big and that's being mentioned quite a lot already if you haven't seen anything about Baldur's Gate 3, is that you don't expect any DLCs. There won't be any major updates of content in the game later on. There are no microtransactions, no in-game purchase. You buy the game, that's it. It's a full game, everything is in there, it's huge, and you don't have to worry about extra content or spending more money, and it's worth it. Like I'm telling you, this is one of those games that I'm very confident that if you like turn-based RPGs, this is the one. It goes above and beyond, and it's better than any other games with this style that I have played. So totally worth it, in my opinion. Now, music is also fantastic. Last time I played, the music was good, but it wasn't that great. Now, there are so many options in terms of music, and depending on where you are, what you're doing, you have different themes for the music, and this makes so much difference in the game, and it's just fantastic. The conversations in the game, as on in the early access, they are all animated. There is no single conversation that you talk to someone and then you have a box of text in there. Basically, every single thing is actually animated, and there was real life actors that recorded that and that they perform. So every single thing in the game is like that. Like, can you imagine the amount of time and effort that went into there? Like, it's just incredible. And this is one thing about this game, like size in general. Everything feels and is huge, and environments, items that you have on an environment, you get on a house and you have like cutlery, you have food, you have paintings, you have all sorts of smaller details that represent like our daily lives or what you expect in those situations. And it's just like overwhelmingly positive, I should say, because there is so much in there. And sometimes you have a lot of things hidden in this clutter of stuff as well. And this is one of the things that I found that's very fun about this game, is that trying to find where you have like hidden treasures or things along the way, then they just basically on your face, and if you're not really paying attention, you miss it. So this is like, I'm having so much fun. So that's what I want to say. Now, for weak points, some of the strong points might be weak depending on what you like and what you do. But it's a very long game, as I mentioned. At least 100 hours. It's not for everyone. I've played this for, I believe, 35, 40 hours so far in this campaign alone. And I'm still on Act 1. You have 3 acts, by the way. And it's like very, very long. You can avoid those side quests as always, but as you're doing everything, everything feels like such a part of the game, and you're talking to people, and then you're just like, I have to look into it. Like, I can't just ignore those things, you know? But if you don't have a lot of time available, or make peace with yourself that you play just like an hour a week or something like that, how long you can, and that'll take you half a year or maybe somewhere along those lines to finish it. If you're happy with that, that's fine, but keep that in mind, it's a very long game. Also, the combat turns, it's not for everyone. There are players that would prefer something more dynamic, where like things just don't stop, you have to keep going. But as this is D&D, and this is based on a turn, just because like everyone was playing with paper and books and dice, this is how the game was made. And I think it worked really well on this game, and there is no penalties in doing that. But it's not for everyone, I acknowledge that. So if you're not a big fan of these types of games, then that might not be for you. But even though, I would say that it's worth a try, because the story behind everything is just full of knowledge and content, and it's very in-depth, and I think it's worth it. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. And I think the last weak point, if you don't know much about RPGs or D&D especially, it can be a little bit difficult to understand everything that you can do and how you can do certain things. Even for me that had previous knowledge and have been playing RPGs for a very long time, there are a lot of things that I'm still figuring out that I can do and there are other mechanics or that I could be better prepared. But this is fine. Like if you don't mind that's all right. I think that's the journey to learn. And as you level up, as you grow, as you get stronger, you also add those skills into your belt and you start playing better and smarter along the game. It's something that there's not much intro to how you play a D&D game, but you can slowly get into it and learn and understand as you go. There's a lot of good content on the internet about that as well, and you can learn a bit more. But again, those 3 points, the length of the game, the combat turns, and how difficult it is to actually learn all the mechanics, these are things that I think you should keep in mind. But all in all, my conclusion is that I've completely changed my mind since I've played the early game, the early access, and it's completely worth it in my opinion. One of the best games I ever played now, and I think you'll find throughout the internet very similar opinions, but I just want to give my update because it changed dramatically since my last review, and I want to make sure that I give the game the attention it deserves because they put a lot of effort into everything and it shows, and I'm happy with this. All in all, thank you all for watching this video and looking for this review. If you have any questions or any opinions, or if you want to cover something that I might not have covered in this video, please leave a comment, let me know what you think, and maybe also considering watching the video on your screen, because I think you might like that as well. Thank you again, and see you next time. Bye bye!